of faculty community and student community and research community also. On behalf of Dr. NGPIT management and EEE department, I warmly and respectfully welcome Dr. A. Deepak sir from Aprilo Private System Limited, electromagnetic design engineer. So this is the second occasion sir will deliver lecture on faculty development programs. Sir is a rich experience in this particular field. So sir will deliver about this kind of what recent research is going on this towards the faculty and research community. So with this, I hand it over to Karnia. Thank you, Karnia.
Thank you, sir. Mr. A. Deepak sir has received his bachelor degree in Tirumala Engineering College at Kanchipuram in the year 2006 and received master's degree in CEG at Anna University in the year 2009 and completed his PhD degree in Anna University in the year 2017. Sir has a teaching experience of about 13 years in various engineering colleges. At present, he is working as electromagnetic design engineer in ePropel System Private Limited, Chennai. He has also published more than 12 journals in various reputed journals and completed 4 consultancy works. His area of interest is finite element analysis of special electrical machines and application of power electronics in electrical drives. He is reviewer in Applied Computation of Electromagnetics, Elsewhere Energy, IET Electric Power Application. Now, I kindly request Mr. A. Deepak sir to take over the session.
Yeah, thank you. Can you audible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Good morning to 100% here. Okay. First of all, I convey my special thanks to the HOD of EEE department, Jagannathan sir, and coordinators of this event, Dr. K. Ramash Kumar sir, as a convener, and another 2 coordinators, and faculty members, for giving me this opportunity to act as resource person in this wonderful workshop. It is a faculty development program. Okay. I directly move my session. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, sir.
This session we are going to discuss about EV drive motor and controller design aspects. Okay. Most probably for more FD faculty development programs and workshops are only concentrating some of the controllers or converters, the theoretical point of view, or some other results oriented we are talking. But this session I'm going to talk about what is the electrical vehicle, what is the impact of electrical vehicle in social in the market, and what are all the motors we are going to use in that electrical vehicle, how to design a motor for particular EV applications, what are all the factors you need to consider. Then what is the controller required for controller motor parameter for controlling motor performance. Okay. What are the knowledge skill required to design a motor or controller for any electrical engineer? Okay. That is my concentration for this workshop. Okay. This is the content of my presentation. So electrical vehicle basics and basic components in EV, electrical motors used in electric EV, motor analysis methods. Different analysis methods are available in industry. Okay. What are all the methods available? Different software tools used for motor design. Then I move to controller part. What is a comparison between BLDC motor and PMSM motor? What is a controller circuit used for permanent magnet synchronous motor? What is field oriented control and how it's applied to the permanent magnet synchronous motor? These things I am going to present in this next 1 hour. Okay. It's very much interesting. The introduction of electrical vehicle. You know that vehicle that uses more than one electrical motor, more or more than one electrical motors, that is called the EV. Okay. The main purpose of this motor in electrical vehicle is a propulsion purpose. That is rotating purpose. Normally, these motors getting power supply from, normally you know that EV motors getting power supply from battery, because that is a DC power supply. So normally it's get power supply from battery or solar panels or some other generators, like alternators or some other generators produce alternating current, that the AC current converted to DC through some rotating rectifiers. Then the DC supply given to the motor input. The power of motors, normally motor used in electrical vehicle, that power can be represented in the form of kilowatts. Okay, not kVA or some other ratings, normally represented in the form of kilowatts. Okay. Normally DC current applied to the motor as the input, that DC converted into AC through some inverter, three-phase inverter. That inverter output given to motor windings. Okay, that is AC current given to the motor windings. That is a general concept of electrical vehicle power configuration. Advantages of EV over conventional vehicles. Okay, we know that few advantages of EV vehicle. It's cheaper to run and maintain. Okay. Initial cost is high, but compared to initial cost, running cost and maintenance cost is very less when you go and compare with the IC engines based vehicle. Less pollution. Okay. The major advantage of EV vehicle is less pollution. There is no emission. Another advantage, we are able to use eco-friendly materials. In this case, that means reusable material we are able to integrate with the electrical vehicles. That is another advantage of e-vehicle. Power supply case, we go with renewable energy. Okay, if you go with the e-vehicles, renewable energy integration is also possible. That is a major advantages of EV. Health benefits. Okay, compared to we have less pollution. That's a health benefit created in that EV. Another one is a safety improvements. They are able to implement lot of sensors. Compared to IC engine based vehicle, here we are able to integrate lot of implement sensors. That is another advantage in this EV concept. Our energy society. We all know that the fuel price in crosses more than 90 rupees or 95. Some other states we reach more than 100. Okay, India have major crisis for fuel. Okay, if you go with EV based vehicles, our energy society get benefit. Okay, because of that, our Indian economy will grow up. That's the need for electrical vehicle. That's why our major countries, developed countries, they are looking for EV developments. The EV status in the world. Okay, I take the scenario in between 2017 to 2021. Okay, you see this first image here. At present in 2000, they expected in 2025 nearly 43 to 500 charging stations, and all over the market. We are global. They plan to implement charging stations. Still, we are lacking to implement charging stations. That's a major problem for developing e-vehicles. So they're planning. Still, EV market, they are planning to implement 43,000, more than that. Charging stations in all over the world. Okay, so first one. You see, second one, global sales of EV. What are the EV vehicle sales in 2020 Jan to June? Right, I take in this period, second half of that year is reduced, but in first half of year 2020 Jan to June, you see Tesla is the major contributor. Tesla sold nearly 10% of that vehicle in all over the sale. Then Volkswagen Group, okay, next to Tesla, the Volkswagen Group. Tesla is the major contributor for e-vehicle. Okay, we all know about that. Then Volkswagen Group, then BMW is there, then Hyundai is there. Okay, these are all some of the top contributors in all over the world, global sales in e-vehicles. These are all the major OEMs for electrical vehicles. Some of the cases are red indications. That means their sales dropped, okay, 13% or 10% or 40%, like that. Few companies only getting more benefit in this first half of 2020. It's another one. It's globally, which country uses more electrical vehicles? That is the third graph. You see that Norway is the major user for e-vehicles. Nearly 49% of vehicles they are using an EV-based vehicle. Then Iceland, Okay, then Sweden, Netherlands, even though China and the US, they are developed countries, still based on their pollution and their vehicle-based percentage, they are placed behind their Norway or Iceland or Sweden. But Norway, they are continuously replacing conventional vehicle with e-vehicles. This is a global level contributor of e-vehicles. You see, projected towards 2040. So orange one is the rest of the world. Here blue line is the United States of America. Then here red indicates China. The three countries, US, China, they are the two countries playing major role in the global market for producing electrical vehicles. Okay. The rest of the world nearly contributing only 20 to 25%. But major contributor in the world, these two countries, China and the United States. You all know that nearly 90 or 95% of motors for electrical vehicles all over the country purely depends on only China. China is the major producer for electrical motors, especially for EV applications. Because the resource material available, the cost wise, the motor cost is very, very less compared to any other country. That's why they are playing major role in that motor design in the electrical vehicle market. See, these are the familiar two-wheelers in EVs in India. Like Hero motor is there, Mahindra motor is there, okay, Honda is there, BMW, Ether Energy. Okay, these are all the major EV vehicles, two-wheeler available in Indian roadsides. Okay. Familiar three-wheelers, three-wheeler EVs in India. Ape is a major three-wheeler market producer. Okay, normally we are able to see this vehicle in roadsides. Three-wheeler Ape, it's purely e-vehicle based vehicle. Familiar four-wheelers, four-wheeler EVs in India. See, these are all the vehicles available for electrical vehicle like Maruti Suzuki WagonR, Hyundai, Kona, Tata Motors, Altroz, okay, MG Motors, Nissan Leaf, Nexon is available on Tata, Renault is there, Audi is there, Volvo is there. These are all the familiar four-wheelers we are able to see in roadsides in Indian roadsides. Next, I move to top EV investments in South India. Don't think so why he is taking why I'm going to take some basics of e-vehicle means because of this only I am able to touch the electrical motors. That's why I say some basics of electrical vehicle. Top EV investments in South India. Okay, those who are interested to get a job or do your research in electrical vehicle industry because of this. See the top EV investments in South India. You see Ampere. Ampere, they already invested 700 crores in Tamil Nadu for electrical vehicle. Ampere, they are investing at 700 crores for development of a two-wheeler EV based vehicle. Okay. Then you see Tesla. Tesla, they are planning to start their electrical car manufacturing units in Bangalore. There is Elon Musk planned to start that plan. Maybe within 1 or 2 years, they are planning to start in Bangalore. And another one is ZF Wabco. It's a German-based company. It's a control system-oriented company. It's a control system, power electronics integrated company. They are also planning to start their control system unit, development of control system and power electronics unit in Chennai. That's purely for EV applications. So bulk investments. And final one is Ola. Ola, they already invested 2,400 crores in Tamil Nadu, Hosur. They are planning to start their new plant for a two-wheeler industry. Okay, maybe within 2 years they have started, already some of base works are going, groundworks are going. Within 2 years they plan to start their production. Now, present they have started their R&D works in Bangalore. Okay, these are all the 4 major investments in South India, especially Tamil Nadu. Okay. After this, we discussed about the basics of EV. Okay, next, I move to basic components used in electrical vehicle. I take either two-wheeler or three-wheeler, anything. Okay. Take anything. Then this is the basic components. Okay. Some of the electrical motor is there. That is the art of the system. For getting power supply, it requires some inverter because DC converted to AC through some inverters. Battery is a major role. Charging station is required. If the charging is available, the drive train, gear shift or some other things available. This is a four-wheeler case. If I go with three-wheeler, motor directly mounted on the wheel. Here battery is there. The battery giving power supply to the motor. In between these two, I have got some controllers. Okay, here we have some accelerator. The major component to take any electrical vehicles, three components is there. One is a battery, another one is converter with the controller, and another one is motor. Okay, as an electrical engineer, you have enormous opportunity or big opportunities in these three applications. Either you concentrate on battery design or controller, converter with the controller or electrical motor design. Nearly thousands of opportunities is there in these three applications in EV market. I don't say in abroad countries, these job openings are available in Chennai, Coimbatore and Bangalore. These three regions you have lot of openings within these three applications. Top companies required experts or skilled person in these three applications, either battery design or power electronics, and another one is motor design. So for motor arrangements in electrical vehicle, you see, if it is a two-wheeler, that motor directly mounted on the wheels. It is a three-wheeler, again it's mounted on near to the wheel, but not directly mounted. It's in between we have some support connection, okay, some drive support. Here four-wheeler, here you see there, here also some motors is mounted here, that one connected through some shaft. Okay. These are all the motor arrangements in electrical vehicle. Okay. We go for list of motors available in electrical industry. Yeah, these are all the motors we normally use in electrical vehicle, electrical industry, not electrical vehicle. This is the general motors available in electrical domain. You know, DC motors and AC motors. In DC, brushed DC motor and brushless DC motor. In the AC, it's asynchronous motor, like single phase and three-phase induction motor. In synchronous motor, we have three different cases: either switch reluctance motor, and stepper motor, and permanent magnet synchronous motor. Why I am highlighting this permanent magnet synchronous motor compared to other machine means most of the case, nearly 80 to 85% of electrical vehicle market, they use only permanent magnet synchronous motor. Okay. That's why I highlighted permanent magnet synchronous motor. Why I am going to talk about briefly in permanent magnet synchronous motor for next few slides means that is the art of EV market. Okay. List of motors used in electrical vehicle. Previously, this is the motors available in the EV market, generally electrical market. This is list of motors used in EV. 5 different motors. There is a DC series motor, brushless DC motor, permanent magnet synchronous motor, three-phase AC induction motor, and switch reluctance motors. In DC series motor we used in Indian Railways. Okay, for traction purpose we used. That is the only application we used for a DC series motor. We all know about that. It has high starting torque. That's why it is mainly used in Indian Railways. Okay. I moved the remaining 4 motors: brushless DC motor, PMSM, induction motor, and SR. First I will talk about brushless DC motor. See there, brushless DC motor classified into 2 categories. Okay, we all know about that. So inner rotor and outer rotor is there. In industry point of view, we are talking about outer run motor is also called the hub motors, inner run motor. Okay, 2 different cases. What is a hub motor? Okay, hub motor means you see there, motor directly mounted on the wheels of two-wheeler. Okay, that type of motor is called hub motors. Lot of research going on. Our India motor design, major countries involving in this hub motors. Okay, in Indian market, hub motor is nearly 40 to 60% productions going on hub motors. Okay, here you see this is hub motor. Okay, this is widely preferred by two-wheeler manufacturer industry like Helical, Trans, Piero, Ether, and light-speed vehicles, two-wheeler and like a bicycle and two-wheelers. We are going to use hub motors. Another one is inner run motor. Normally, three-wheeler motor they are using a outer run rotors, sorry, inner run rotors. Here you see rotor inside is there, stator outside is there. Here rotor outside is there, stator inside is there. That's why it is called the outer run rotor, and this is inner run rotor. Inner run rotor most probably be used in three-wheeler industry like Goenka Electrical Motors, Spigo, and Volta Automotive. Okay. Brushless DC motor only suitable for low power applications, not suitable for high power, high speed application. It is only suitable for low power applications. That's why we used in two-wheeler and three-wheeler market industry. I move to next one, permanent magnet synchronous motor. Compare both permanent magnet synchronous motor and BLDC have same construction. The difference is in BLDC motor, trapezoidal back EMF in their back EMF nature in the air gap, but in permanent magnet synchronous motor, it has sinusoidal back EMF. That is a major difference. But compared to BLDC, PMSM, we are able to use a higher power ratings. That's why it is best choice for four-wheeler motors like cars and buses. Most of the manufacturers, I said that most of the automotive industry, we used only permanent magnet synchronous motor, especially Toyota, Chevrolet Bolt, Ford Focus Electric, the Nissan Leaf, Honda Accord, BMW i3. So these are all the brands they use permanent magnet synchronous motor. Move to three-phase induction motor. Okay. We know that two types of three-phase induction motor, screw cage and slip ring induction motor. You don't take a three-phase slip ring induction motor, you come for a screw cage induction motor. You all know about that. Screw cage induction motor not able to produce high starting torque. That is a drawback of that one. But the advantage of three-phase induction motor, it secures 92% to 95% efficiency. That's the advantage of three-phase induction motor. With that advantage, additionally, we use the field-oriented control or V/F control. We are able to achieve high starting torque. That is the benefit of three-phase induction motor. In normal case, three-phase induction motor not possible to achieve high starting torque in screw cage. With the field-oriented control or V/F control, we are able to get that high starting torque application. Okay. That's three-phase induction motor. The drawback of this circuit, this motor is control circuit is become complex. That's why it is not used in many applications. But till now, Tesla and Mahindra, they are using only three-phase induction motor for their EV vehicles. Finally, I move to switch reluctance motor. You all know about that switch reluctance motor. Lot of research going on in this motor. Okay, it is suitable for high-speed application compared to PMSM, high-speed and high-power application. Simple circuit, cost-wise more benefit. But even though it has more advantage, the drawback is control circuit become complex. We all know that it's a closed loop operation. Control circuit become complex. That's why it is still in the research level, not come to the industry level. It's still available only in industry level. You see a lot of applications available in SRM based control. All the papers, all the works only in the paper level, still not implemented in the industry. We go further. Factors to consider for selection of motors in electrical vehicle. What are all the factors you need to consider for electrical vehicle? First one is vehicle characteristics. Vehicle characteristics means it's a purely electrical vehicle or it's a hybrid vehicle. Like we are able to integrate with battery or with renewable energy sources or with fuel. Okay, that is first you need to select vehicle characteristics. That is the first task of selection. Second one is driving cycle. First, you need to find a driving cycle of that EV. Either you are going to operate in flat surface, hill surface, sliding surface. Okay, and another one is you are going to use a two-wheeler or three-wheeler, four-wheeler. You find a driving cycle. You need continuous torque or only peak torque, or some duration peak torque, some duration continuous torque. You need to identify. Okay, that is the second characteristic selection factors you need to consider. Maximum speed, maximum operating speed of that motor. Okay, in some of the two-wheeler, you know that some of the EV two-wheelers run maximum 40 km per hour. Some modified version 60 km per hour. Okay, if you go with three-wheeler or four-wheeler, 160 km per hour. Based on the maximum speed, you need to select the motor. What is the maximum torque? Torque required to drive the motor, to drive the load, that you need to consider. Once you know the speed and torque, maximum power. What is the maximum power required to power that motor? These are all the important factors. Speed, torque, power. Okay, one you want to relate it. P equal to 2 pi nt by 60. Okay. Then battery capacity. You know the motor power range, based voltage range. Based on that, you need to select battery capacity. Okay, that's another important task. Try to choose a high efficient battery. Okay, that's a major task. Then battery voltage. Okay, based on cells, you need to select battery voltage and battery capacity. In the last few cases, gearbox and direct coupled. Whether you are, I said, hub motor directly coupled. Some case we use a shaft. Okay, these things you need to understand. Gearbox or direct coupled. Final one is cost. Cost wise, very, very important in EV motors. That's why major EV producers only depends on China market. Okay, because of cost. Their cost wise very cheap motors available. That's why our country purely depends on not only our country, US also they are purely depending for motor design only for China. See, familiar motor manufacturers in the world. Okay. Major contributor in motor world: Toshiba, Siemens, okay, Yaza Motors, T Motors, Magnus, Golden Motors, Johnson Electrics, Regal, Nidec, AB, Rockwell Automations. These are all the major motor manufacturers. In these, Golden Motors, Magnus, T Motors, and Yaza. These four playing a main role in EV market. Okay. This is a global level market. This one. This is familiar EV motor manufacturers in India. You know that standard one, Lucas TVS, it's a Comstar, then Mitsubishi, Rapino, Nidec is there, India Nippon, then EMF Innovations, Coimbatore, then E-Propel Systems. It's our company. They are supplying motors for two-wheeler industry, three-wheeler industry, and four-wheeler industry. Okay. We are currently working on Audi cars and the Tata Nexon. Okay. These two four-wheelers we are currently working. And three-wheeler Ape, three-wheeler we are currently designing motors for three-wheeler application. Two-wheeler also we are currently designing hub motors and outer end rotor and inner end rotor. Important terms in electrical machine design. If you want to become a good expert in electrical machine design, you need to understand these points. Okay, if you want to start your design, EV motor for EV application means you need to understand these concepts. Then only you are able to become a good expert in this electrical machine design field. First one is dimension. First you know the dimension of a motor. It's outer. What is the outer diameter? What is the inner diameter? Okay, that's the thing you need initially. If you want to start any motor design, you need to know what is the dimension. Outer diameter and inner diameter is very, very important. What is the output power and torque? What is the power rating and torque rating? That is electrical parameters of that motor. These two is very, very important. And finally, efficiency. Efficiency is very, very important. In EV market, we are able to produce more than 85 to 95%. Within this region, most of the industry prefer 90%. Our Indian company only working for cost-effective motors, but most of the UK, US, and different countries, they are only concentrating efficiency instead of cost. If they're thinking cost, but still they are thinking major role only in efficiency. Okay, now most of the Indian market we only concentrating cost less. And another few parameters I'm going to explain briefly. Saturation of the core. Once you want to become a good design engineer, you want to design you design a motor under saturated conditions. That means core should be less saturated. That is a good task for an engineer. Less saturated means less saturations means tooth size, tip size. That is a core design is well effective and optimized one means core operating under the saturated conditions. If your motor don't get saturation, temperature controllable and high efficiency, we are able to get high output power. If motor is saturated, temperature keeps on increases because of core losses, so efficiency will drop. That's a problem with saturation. Okay. Demagnetization, another one important one. As a design engineer, if you want to design any permanent magnet synchronous motor, you should know what is demagnetization and clogging curve. Demagnetization means We all know that rotor we use permanent magnets. For permanent magnets, it has some operating temperature like 150 degrees Celsius or 100 to 180 degrees Celsius. You should operate the permanent magnet rotor within the allowable temperature or operating temperature. If you go and operate beyond that operating temperature of that particular motor, automatically demagnetization will take place. When demagnetization will appear, magnetic property of that magnets will reduce automatically. So output power reduced, torque reduced. That is the impact of demagnetization. Another one is cogging torque. We all know that due to the interaction of stator and rotor magnetic field, cogging torque will produce. If you have cogging torque, rotor automatically will block. Okay. So cogging torque, you know that skewing is one of the major solution for cogging torque, and try to select a right slot pole combination to avoid the cogging torque. Another one is current density. Current density you try to keep as a design engineer. Current density you try to have below 15 amps per meter square. Okay. Amps square. That is a efficient design for current density. Materials used. In any electrical machines, you need to choose the right materials for right place. Core we have different materials, windings, either copper winding or aluminum winding, silver wire is there, copper clad aluminum is there, permanent magnets. You know that neodymium magnets is available, ferrite magnet is available, samarium cobalt is available, now bonded magnets available. So you need to choose based on cost wise, you select the material. Losses, always try to design a machine with low losses. You know that copper loss and iron loss ratio will be same. Okay? Will be 1. Okay? Try to design a motor effectively in that way. Finally, temperature. Always motor design is purely based on the temperature. If temperature go beyond the limit, any of the beyond the limit, motor totally damaged. So try to design a machine with well under operating temperature. That's a good designer. These are all the factors you need to consider if you want to become a good design engineer. Especially in permanent magnet synchronous motor, these factors is very, very important. If you want to become another one thing, if you want to learn to design a motor in software, you need to go with any one of the tools. These are all the softwares available in electrical machine design. You don't have any specific centers for learning these softwares. If you go and search some YouTube videos, you search in Google, you have some options available. You try to learn any one of the software. Speed, flux, magnet, motor solve, thermnet, electnet, optinet, motorcad, and JMagnet. Here, flux is there, magnet is there, thermnet, electnet, optinet is there. These are all the CAD softwares. CAD software means you need to draw the diagram based on the design sheet. Like motor solve, motorcad, JMag, and speed. These are all template softwares. Template software means already some. It's like a MATLAB. In their internal library, all the stator, rotor type of motors available. You select as if you know the basic concepts. You select all the parameters and all the components. Then you design a machine. You export that designed machine to magnet or some other CAD softwares. That is the way that presently industries, we are as a design engineer, we are currently doing. We design a machine in MotorSolve software or JMag software or MotorCAD software. Once we got the simulation in this template softwares, we export that model to CAD softwares to get accuracy. To get accurate results, we go with the CAD softwares. If you want to learn motor design, okay, you go and if you want to start your motor design or you want to learn anything in this area, you go and work with MotorCAD or MotorSolve. These two softwares is very much useful for beginners because they are template software. It is very simple one. There are some guidelines available. Based on that, you try to design a motor. These two is a simple softwares, okay? Or otherwise magnet. Try to guide your students or if you are those are doing research or some other things, you try to learn any one of the software. Instead of learning MATLAB or some other softwares, you try to learn any one of these software means you are able to get jobs in industry, or you are able to do your PhD, or you are able to do good publications in this particular area. Or if you want to, you motivate some students, those who are doing projects under your guidance or guidelines, you try to encourage them to do some of the design. Don't continuously, most of the electrical engineers, they are thinking we need to settle only in Infosys or some other software companies, CPS, TCS, like that. But you motivate these our students in this special any one of the specific area, means they are well expert, means 1 year of any initial level of experience will give the better salary and good future, because you know that in another few industries, another few years, EV vehicle is playing a major role in all over the world. You all know that admissions also many of the major issue in the electrical industry because of this job crisis. So if students involved or any other those who are interested to shift industry, because you know that myself working nearly 14 years of teaching, last 10 years I am involving in R&D of electrical machine design. Now I am working in one industry, R&D development, research and development domain, because of this machine design. And entirely changed from teaching to design industry because of these softwares. So this will give a good future for your career development. So this we discussed for machine design. Actually, I am planning to give some brief details about machine design with one software tool, but that this content is converters used for EV applications. That's why I additionally say something about permanent magnet synchronous motor and its control. Up to this, those who are interested in machines, those who are not interested in power electronics or power systems, they are trying to develop your own skills in machine design. Okay. I am very much interested in power electronics, means you try to concentrate on upcoming slides. Permanent magnet synchronous motor and its control. We all know that permanent magnet synchronous motor versus BLDC. I go with it. I am concentrating only PMSM, so I talk about more on power PMSM. We know that back EMF is a sinusoidal. In permanent magnet synchronous motor, back EMF is sinusoidal, but there it's a trapezoidal waveform. In permanent magnet synchronous motor, in most of the industry, they use only field-oriented control. So try to learn field-oriented control because it provides maximum torque. But there BLDC motor, we use scalar control. We all know that scalar control. I mean, three-phase inverter, 120-degree conduction mode, 180-degree conduction mode. At a time, two devices are conducting. Okay, that's scalar control. Very low noise in PMSM, but their noise level is very, very high in BLDC. Efficiency point of view, BLDC is good with simple control, but here we have some harmonics issue. That is a major problem in permanent magnet synchronous motor. You see, permanent magnet synchronous motor with the BLDC. Okay, here flux linkages are sinusoidal, air gap flux linkages are sinusoidal. But in BLDC, see there, trapezoidal in nature. That's why, even though it has construction wise same, everything is same, but only air gap flux linkage is different because of winding distribution in BLDC motor, okay, and its flux distribution, both the and its flux generation based on winding distribution, flux generated. That flux generated is normally in trapezoidal nature. That is a problem with BLDC motor, but in PMSM motor, no issue. It's purely sinusoidal. If you have trapezoidal nature in this case, that's why we have noise in BLDC motor. That's why I said previously why it has more noise in BLDC motor. That's because of this trapezoidal air gap flux linkage. Sorry. You all know about that permanent magnet synchronous motor operation. You know fundamental of these things. Just I want to refresh it. We have battery supply. The battery output given to three-phase inverter. The three-phase inverter output given to stator windings. The stator windings produces a stator field. Okay. Then rotor, already we have permanent magnets. So both stator field and rotor field interacting with each other, they produced a resultant force, and resultant force converted into torque. This is the general operation of permanent magnet synchronous motor. Even though it's inner rotor configuration or outer rotor configuration, you take anything, This is general operation. Okay. Two fields interact with each other, resultant torque will produce and motor is going to rotate. Then I move to power electronics concept, major power electronics one. So permanent magnet synchronous motor hardware. If you want to become a good power electronics engineer in hardware section, either in simulation or hardware, you need to understand these concepts very well. Or try to learn yourself these concepts very well. You know these things already, but even though theoretical point of view, go with some of hardware implementation. Okay, try to learn these topics in future. You see that this is hardware layout of permanent magnet synchronous motor. Here you see the power circuit is there, then motor control unit, then the output of that one given to inverter. Then inverter output given to permanent magnet motor stator field windings, stator windings. Okay, armature windings. Here it's a closed loop operation. Okay, here rotor it has permanent magnet. You see here stator winding is there. This winding connected directly to this three-phase inverter circuit. Most probably we use 120-degree mode conduction mode. Here you see all these switches are MOSFET. MOSFET is an art of the power electronic circuit in PMS and hardware circuit. 6 MOSFETs we used here because three-phase circuit, inverter circuit, 3 MOSFETs is there. When digitally, if you are giving one, all upper group of MOSFETs is going to turn on. Okay, based on the excitation pattern. If you are giving zero, digitally zero or low signals, lower group of MOSFETs is going to turn on. Why we prefer in MOSFET in power in this circuits means it's a fast switching speed. Okay, nanoseconds. The operating speed is in nanoseconds. That's why we prefer MOSFETs instead of BJT. Okay. So you know that. So voltage control device, fast operating speed in nanoseconds. That's why we go with MOSFETs. Even though it's a basic circuit, you want to be a power electronics design engineer, you understand these 4 concepts very well. Gate driver design, that is used in MOSFETs, electrical design in MOSFET, thermal design in MOSFET, and magnetic design in MOSFETs. Okay. First I wanted to talk about these 4 are the main task of MOSFET design. Okay. These 4 roles are play a major role in MOSFET design. That's why I give briefly here. Gate driver circuit. Gate driver means MOSFET is going to turn on or turn off based on gate excitation. Okay. Here this is the gate driver. Okay. This is one of the gate driver circuits available in the Texas Instruments web page. Okay, you go and see there. If you give a search in Texas Instruments gate driver circuit for MOSFET, they given this circuit. Okay, here this is called gate driver circuit. This is constant driver circuit for any MOSFET. If you go any applications, if you want to use MOSFET, this is the constant gate driver circuit. With the help of this circuit only, we are going to turn on or turn off MOSFET. Here say gate excitation. Here you see 2 MOSFETs is there. It's upper one and lower one. Here buffer is there. When a higher signal is coming, one is coming. This one is turned on. Okay. When lower signal 0 is coming, this one is turned on. When lower MOSFET is turned on, capacitor is going to charging. When this one is turned off, capacitor going for discharging. Okay. This concept is called tandem pole. Charging and discharging of capacitor with the 2 MOSFETs and buffer. This concept is called tandem pole configuration. This is the major concept used in gate driver circuit. Okay. Why we go with gate driver circuit means inside of a power electronic converter circuits, we use a different voltage level, 5 volt to 12 volt, 3.3 volt to 12 volt, 12 volt to 5 volt. Different voltage shifting is there. That voltage shifting can be achieved with the help of this gate driver circuit. That is the reason why we go for gate driver circuit. So another reason to go with gate driver circuit. And finally, you see that 2 MOSFET is there. Here this one connected to ground and power supply, but this one not connected to ground. So for that case, we use another one concept here, bootstrap circuit. Okay. The power supply rail problem will appear in a gate driver circuit. That's why we go with bootstrap circuit. Again, you go with Texas Instruments. There in web page, what is bootstrap circuit or a bootstrap configuration for MOSFET driver circuit. There you get this circuit. Okay, as a design engineer, power electronic design engineer, we are getting all the images, all the configurations only from Texas Instruments or Microchips, Toshiba, and these industries. Okay, these websites. So this is bootstrap circuit. Bootstrap circuits normally used in MOSFETs. You go and search in Google. They mention very clearly bootstrap circuit normally used in MOSFETs for excitation purpose or turn on the switches purpose. What is bootstrap means? Any technique where part of output of a system is used at startup. Okay, output of one connected to another system input, then that one going to turn on. That configuration is bootstrap. You see here, the previous circuit, this MOSFET connected here common point, but this one connected to ground and supply, but this one connected to supply but not connected to ground. So here you see, here one MOSFET is there, here one MOSFET is there, this one connected to ground and supply, this one also connected to supply. But here we additionally created one virtual ground. Okay, virtual ground with supply. Okay, based on this, here we have some filters. Based on that, this is motor winding. Based on that, we turn on the MOSFET. In bootstrap circuit, additionally we use one capacitor and diode. Okay, when this one turned on, this MOSFET is going to turn on. Sorry, capacitor is going to switch, going for charging. When this one turned off, this capacitor is going to switch off, turned on, discharging power flow from this direction to here. Okay. The advantage of bootstrap circuit is we reduce the additional power supply. Okay. That is a major need for bootstrap circuit. If we don't have this bootstrap configuration, means we need additional external supply, like separately excited DC motor. We give some additional supply to control the field current. No? In similar way, if you don't have bootstrap concept, we need to give additional voltage supply. So with the help of bootstrap, like this capacitor and diode arrangement, okay, then the internal voltage rail will be adjusted. Okay? This is the advantages of bootstrap's configuration. So gate driver circuit, they used two configuration. One is tandem pole configuration and another one is bootstrap circuit. If you want to detail theory about these two configuration, you go for Texas Instruments page. There they are given a brief theory about this tandem pole and the bootstrap. And another one is the electrical design of MOSFET. In electrical design, you only want to concentrate about voltage and current power ratings. Okay, that is an important task in electrical design. Okay, and another one is magnetic design. Magnetic means you used some of the filters in MOSFET. Okay, for filtering purpose, you design some inductor. So you need to understand how to design an inductor based on some standard equations. Based on the equation, you design an inductor. Okay, these two things as an electrical engineer you know very well. So electrical design and magnetic design is an easy concept only. Just you go and read a few standard documents available in Texas Instruments, then you are able to learn electrical design and magnetic design. Then I go with thermal losses. There is thermal design of MOSFET. Okay, if you want to design a thermal case, what is the maximum temperature will produced in that MOSFET? That can be determined with the help of two losses. The three losses, actually gate losses and the switching losses and conductional losses. Conductional losses and switching losses play a major role because gate loss is very, very less. So that's why we concentrating only switching losses and conductional losses. You see conductional losses in MOSFET. When MOSFET is going to turn on, that means gates voltage appear in between gate and the source. Is greater than the knee voltage or knee point, knee voltage, then it's going to conduct, that is switch turned on, current will flow from drain to source. When current will flow from drain to source, in between we have resistance from drain to source, that resistance is called the RDS. When you know that when current flow in between through any resistance, we are able to get some losses. That losses is called conductional losses. Current flow from drain to source is IDRMS. Resistance in between drain to source is RDS. With the help of this, we are able to find conductional losses. Normally, IDRMS is equal to ID into root D. D means duty cycle of that MOSFET. Duty cycle means T1 by T. Based on that, we need to find. Okay. So finally, conductional losses in MOSFET totally is gone. Okay. So conductional loss mean MOSFET produced because of turn-on condition, ID flow from drain to source. So in between we have resistance. So these losses will take place. Then switching loss. Two types of switching losses is there. One is on-state switching loss and another one is off-state switching loss. I go for on-state loss. You know this concept very well, but I give some basic theory. You see when MOSFET is going off, initially in off condition here, that time reverse voltage will appear, that is drain to source voltage will appear. When you are going to give voltage between gate to source, here you see voltage will increase. That time ID current will increase. When it reaches maximum value, that time drain to source voltage will comes to 0. Okay, this transition period, this current increase, this voltage will drop. Okay, this region is called instantaneous power region during on-time period. Okay, this is the power, is the reason for on-state switching losses. Okay, it's a formula for on-time condition voltage. It's a formula ID current VDD T on into 1 by 2. So on-time period, total time period. This is the rising time for current. This is the rising time for voltage, and this is the total power formula for on-state switching losses. Okay. Go with off-state switching losses. They are already in MOSFET in turn-on condition. It's already conducting current in this case. When VDS is going, MOSFET is going to turn off, VDS starts to increase. When it reaches maximum, ID current starts to reduce. This increase and decrease region is called the off-state switching losses region, that is instantaneous power region. Here you see this is the off-time period, rising voltage and falling current. With the help of that, we need to find off-state switching losses. Okay. These three losses playing important role in MOSFET thermal design. Okay. With the help of these losses, you need to find total total losses produced in the MOSFET. Based on that, you need to design heat sink. Okay, heat sink will take all the heats from MOSFET to outside. That is the purpose of heat sink. That's why we need to, as a design engineer, you need to concentrate these two losses. Then I go with, once I completed MOSFET basic configuration, I go with what are all the controls used in permanent magnet synchronous motor. Two types of control is there. There is a vector control and another one is direct torque control. Direct torque control we don't use in a normal case. The field oriented control used in many industries. Field oriented control means we are able to control magnetizing current and torque producing component. That means flux component, flux current and torque current. Both the current we need to control in field oriented control. That is called vector control. In direct torque control means we control only torque component current. Okay. But in vector control, we control both flux and torque component current. But here we control only torque component current. Finally, I want to say a few things about field oriented control. And another thing, if you want to become a good power electronics engineer in industry, you should know what is field oriented control, how it's going to implement in hardware circuit. Okay. Again, if you want to develop your own hardware, you go and refer any Texas Instruments web page. There are a lot of circuits available, ICs available. You are able to get more knowledge in hardware. That's an easy way to learn power electronics hardware. What is field oriented control? Applying sinusoidal excitation with current space vector referred to a rotor position. It's called field oriented control. That means we use some electronics control. Okay, in the field oriented control. I say briefly about what is field oriented control. The major merits and demerits. Okay, know that it reduces torque ripple. It gives constant torque. It improves dynamic response. Output it give a standard one. Extended speed range of operation is possible in this field oriented control. Noise and electromagnetic interference reduced. And control become, the major demerits in this case is control become complex, circuit is more expensive. Okay. The circuit is constant torque and constant power region. Okay. After this we have constant region. Beyond that we have a field weakening control. Is field-oriented control suitable for both the regions? See the difference between field-oriented control and without field-oriented control and with field-oriented. Here you see this is stator field. Here you see this is stator field. South pole and north pole is there. Here rotor field is there. The angle between stator and rotor field is there. Without, if you go without field-oriented control, means it has a angle theta. Okay, that is called without field-oriented control. If you go with the field-oriented control, means the angle between stator and rotor magnetic field is 90 degree. What the purpose of field-oriented control is, it always maintain both the angle between stator and rotor magnetic field is 90 degree. Because of this 90 degree angle maintenance, you see there back EMF and current for torque component in same phase angle. But here you see there is some phase shift is there in between back EMF and current. This current is torque component. But here we have some phase shift is there, but here both the 90 degree phase shift is there. The angle between both the cases is 90 degree. That is the concept of basic concept of field oriented. Always it maintain 90 degree in between stator and rotor magnetic field. That is the main task for field oriented. Circuit, you know, is already studied in special electrical machines, or you know, special electrical machines are solid state drives. It's a field oriented control. Field oriented control means we use two loops. There is vector control. We use two loops: inner current loop and outer speed loop. Okay. Here you should know what is inverse Fock transform and inverse Clark transform. Okay. Here most probably in most of the industries, even though we have more linear control, still many industries they use only PI controllers. Even though it has less stability, the dynamic response is good. It reduces steady state error. That's why we use a PI controller. It is simple controller. That's why many industries prefer PI controller. Okay. If you want to design simulation or a hardware, this is the general circuit used for field-oriented control for PLC. So error detector is there. It's a controller. Then inverse Fock transform. The purpose of inverse Fock transform, you know that it convert stator reference frame variable to rotor reference variable to stator reference variable. That is DQ axis to variable to alpha beta variables. That is stator reference frame variable. Then inverse Clark transform, okay, that one converted to two quantities, two phasor system into three phasor system, okay, alpha beta to ABC. Okay, the purpose of this conversion is you will go for complicated calculations. If you use only two parameter means it is easy. That's why we go with these transformations. Then this we use another important technique, space vector modulation. Field oriented control means you need to understand very clearly about space vector modulation. Okay, so this is the general closed loop circuit. Okay, it's a Fock transformation and Clark transformation is also is there. Here we use some sensor and sensorless operation is also possible. Normally speed we use the encoder. This is sensor operation. Now at present now they use a sensorless operation is also possible. You see that it's a plot diagram of the circuit. With the help of this circuit only, we are going to implement field-oriented control in PLC. What are the general equations for a permanent magnet synchronous motor we followed in industries? If we use a surface-mounted or outer rotor, we go with the LQ equal to LD. Okay. If you go with the interior type of permanent magnet type, LQ is greater than LD. That is Q-axis inductance is greater than D-axis inductance because of additional reluctance torque. You know that? Reluctance torque, reluctance will oppose the flux. That reluctance, that opposing flux also has some torque. That additional torque will present on permanent magnet synchronous motor. It's a voltage equation of permanent magnet synchronous motor. Already you know that analysis of electrical machines, Master of Engineering, ME paper is there. That these equations are. Finally, we come to end of the session. Knowledge need for controller in software design. If you want to, I already said, if you want to become an expert in machine design, you know any one of the software and some of the machine design concepts very well. But if you want to become a good engineer or good design engineer in industry for power electronics, you should know what is MATLAB. Model-based design. That means you go for Simulink, there you develop the blocks, and based on that you develop your programs or codings. That is a one way to write a program. Or very good in embeddeds. The second important qualification is embedded C. And final one is you should know the understanding of Texas Instruments and Microchip IDs. That means each ID suitable for different applications like buck converter, boost converter, drive circuits. It has a different IDs. You should know the knowledge of these IDs in Texas Instrument, in Microchip. If you go and attend any interviews, they ask these chip details and the ID details. If you go and attend any power electronics position, engineer position, you should know these three categories. Finally, we come to opportunities in finite element analysis or machine design. As a job seeker, if you want to search a job or if you want to change your field from one field to another field, you try to learn any one of the software in machine design or power electronics concepts. You are able to get good opportunities. Now, a lot of openings is there. In my office, they want nearly 3 or 4 power electronics engineers in India. UK section also we have some openings, but still we don't get a good resource in power electronics. Machine design also still we are searching many resources. Still we don't get any good resource person in machine design. That's why I said that more jobs available in upcoming years for EV applications. Research scholars, those I think a lot of recognized guides available in this attending in this workshop. You try to encourage your students to do research in particular machine design, okay, because you are able to get good publications because they published more than 4 elsewhere journals which has an impact factor of 4.1 or something like that. They are able to get good publication. Instead of going power electronics and power systems, there are a lot of already papers available. But this is new area. Most of the industry wants machine design and optimization, new type of motor design. So if you take any new motor design or implement new concept or novel idea, you are able to get good publications and try to complete your PhD within the field. Okay, I did my research only in machine design. Okay, I designed the Clapol alternator for aircraft applications with the magnet software. Okay, I got good publications. Nearly 6 or 7 publications I got within that research project. Okay. Finally, those who are searching for funded projects, try to apply funded projects or workshops based on like AICT funding agencies, CSIR like that. To try to apply in finite element analysis based. Okay. You are able to get a good funded. That's my suggestion. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for the wonderful presentation. There are some questions in chat box, sir. Shall I ask one by one, sir?
Yeah.
Question from what is the range of efficiency is low compared to other countries? Why we are forced to stick with the less cost factor? Shall I read once again, sir?
Makes sense.
What is the range of efficiency is low compared to other countries? So what is the range that I think he is asking?
No, actually, we are in our company working in 3 different countries, in the UK, and the US, and India. Okay, in UK and USA, we have many customers. They are only looking for 90 to 95% efficiency. Even though we are working for cost based, efficiency is their major thing. But in India, we are always looking for cost. You know that if those who are in Coimbatore, you go and visit there any industries, their major thinking is cost. Okay, like Ampere and Ola and all, they are thinking for low cost motors compared to efficiency. If you design a motor with high efficiency, means you need to give best material. Okay, material and windings, it required a very high cost one. Okay, high efficient design means cost wise is go higher only. That's why our Indian country they are thinking only cost. So low range of materials. Okay, instead of using neodymium magnets, we used ferrite magnets like that. Okay, still they are not compromising the performance, but efficiency wise, nearly 5% is deviation. That's it.
Thank you, sir. And second question from Sallu Kumar P. Why not IGBT, sir? I think he's asking from control circuits. Sir.
Yeah, in the controller circuits, till now we use only MOSFETs. Still, I said no. Some of the switching losses also on state and off state. Still, we use the ZBS and ZCS also. You know lot of applications in IEEE, ZBS and ZCS. But still, that's and all not implemented in industry. Even though we have IGBT and all, still in industry level we used BJT and the MOSFETs. Compared to BJT and MOSFET in industry level is good. And PI, I said no, PI controller is good. Instead of we have a neural, fuzzy, some of the sliding mode control, nonlinear control, we use only PI control. Still in industry, they go for only low levels because of cost and simple design. That's why we prefer these MOSFET. Till now, we use only MOSFETs. I don't know, these are IGBT and all only in the research level. We said you see many publications, many PhD works are going on IGBT based, ZBS based, soft switching techniques. Still, they are not coming to industry.
And third question from Sanmugha Prabhu Raman. What are the major specifications by using MOSFET?
MOSFET. Yeah, in MOSFET we use, I said no. That's electrical parameters. Some of the power ratings, voltage specifications, switching speed, then the loss specifications. What is each sink required for that particular design? And then switching speed. Okay. Then we need to select, first you need to select the MOSFET based on the voltage ratings. Okay, what voltage you are going to design a converter circuit, either 12 volt or 3.3 volt. For each voltage we have different MOSFETs. So you select voltage based MOSFET. Okay, that is a major specification you need to consider.
Dear participants, if you have any queries and clarification, you can unmute yourself and directly you can ask the resource person. Sir is waiting. So meanwhile, there will be a lot of wonderful session, thoughtful session, knowledgeable session in chat box. Or all our sayings will be wonderful session like this. Posting in chat box. Dear participants, if you have any queries, you can unmute yourself and you can ask. Sir is waiting. Yeah. Sallu Kumaran sir, yes. Sir, I think there is no other questions, sir. So thank you for your wonderful presentation and so giving ideas to research. That is what we really need for the faculty community in this scenario. So how to complete the PhD and what, because we are going for existing power system, still we are thinking about optimization and also. But this is a new opportunity as pointed out FEA and other power electronic sectors with application of EV. So this is what for young researchers and also faculty members to complete the PhD within the stipulated time. So really needed this type of research and thank you for the direction, sir, and thank you for all what enlightened about EV and other power controllers and I have gathered so much knowledge from PMSM also because I am taking personal electrical machines for the students. I am gained personally PMSM knowledge. And thank you so much, sir, for your wonderful speech and wonderful presentation.
Yeah, thank you, sir. And finally, I want to say one thing. If yes. any faculties or those who are having a guideship in Anna University, if you want to encourage your students to do your research in your student in machine design. Okay, I will support you. If you want, if you have any students, means will encourage the student to do PhD in machine design. If you want
Sure,
any support, okay, I will give this.
Sure. Sure. I think all the participants I received this message from resource person. So those who are willing to do research in electrical machine design, SR will be ready to help to complete your PhD. So if you have anything, so please contact to Deepak K for this. Cornea.
Okay.
Somebody is asking mail ID and contact numbers. Shall I give?
Yeah, yes, sir. Go ahead.
Mail ID, sir. Please, sir. I will type.
In chat box, I posted, sir.
Okay, sir. Bhubalan, sir, please find the chat box. Sir will be posting this. Deepak K at eprola.com.
ePropelled.com.
ePropelled.com. Karunya?
Shall I conclude, sir?
Yes.
On behalf of Dr. NGP Institute of Technology and Department of Electrical and Electronics Engineering, I give a really heartfelt vote of thanks to the resource person, Dr. A. Deepak sir, for sharing his thoughts, which will be definitely encouraging us in our future events. Your thoughts have enlightened our minds, sir. Thank you, sir, for your precious time and valuable words.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Jagannathan sir.
Thank you so much, sir. So I want to thank you, sir, because you are busy schedule. You can.
Yes, thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Yeah.
Dear participants, thank you all for this patient learning for 3 days FTP program. We'll meet next occasion this type of programs. Please find the feedback link is posted in the chat box. Try to fill the feedback forms so only you can get the skill certificates. Bhubalan sir, thank you. Thank you so much. So, Ajit sir will correct it, sir. Will correct it. Rahul sir.
Okay, sir. I will look into.
So, Ajit sir will correct it and we can submit. Thank you for your comment, sir. Ajit sir, Ajit Mukherjee sir. Thank you for your feedback.
Sir, it's actually okay, fine. So you will correct it, sir.
Okay.
Okay, sir. I will do.
Okay, sir.